With dragonflies, I like to start with the wings. First the front pair, then the back. A delicate, slightly chalky little crunch, and the pterostigma practically dissolves on the tongue. Then, I move on to the segmented abdomen. I slurp it down in one long, slow, continuous swallow, letting the terminal abdominal appendage tickle its way down my gullet. Next, the thorax, with all its meaty goodness wrapped in a compact, crunchy little shell. And finally, the legs, one at a time until I've finished all 6, savoring each one joint by delicious joint.
Huh. I just gulp them down whole. Asura stuff.
All right, then. We're back. Oh, man, I'm excited to do this episode. This could be a long one here, but we'll see how we go. I've changed the dyes slightly. Now that the sun's set a little bit here today. In the real world, the sun is set a bit more. We're moving swiftly into evening, so I can actually see the screen again. I decided to do a bit of dyeing. I've used one of the enameled dyes, so it might look a little bit better. And we've gone with a bit of pink on there, right? Because obviously the Peacemaker stuff is a little bit pink too, right? It works. It totally works. Hello to Zeph here, who seems to have just wandered next to me. We are on a pretty big adventure here. Oh, he's mounted up there. I'm so used with my muscle memory to use mounts as we run around. We are on a bit of a quest to figure out what the hell is going on with our original invention, the Transatmospheric converter, something we created that could theoretically change the weather. But we never really got to get it off the ground because of funding. It got us in college, and then we kind of just put it in storage. And now, one of Snaff's old apprentices, we're not talking about Zodja, we're talking about another one, Kudu, he has stolen it from us, and he thinks we're not going to call him out for such plagiarization, but we totally are. Problem is, we can't really find any records of it right now. The only place that had one seemed to have been burnt down before, which is pretty gross. So we're going to be moving north to see what we can do. We're going to meet up with one of Kudu's lackeys, an Asura called Plunker, and we'll figure out what we've got going on over there. There's another scout here, by the way. So we're going to finally start moving a little bit more north, away from the coast, and see what's in store for us in the deeper parts of Metrical Province, which is some interesting stuff, to say the least.
Our crew inside the anthill needs assistance educating Skrit about the dangers of Thomanova's chaotic material. Then there's the Luminat's pest problem. Insects, Inquest, and elementals. Squash a few of those, and you'll increase our productivity by as much as 35%.
The way he says elementals there is very, very, very strange.
Feedback loop initiated.
But okay, alright, so let's get going. Anything interesting to talk about here, I guess? The fact where you might have noticed a second ago, I was near a snake creature, known as the Crate. Now, we're not really going to learn much about the Crate just yet, but they are probably one of the most black, evil, dark races that we will meet here on Tyria. The devs usually write in some shades of grey, but the Crate kind of exists to deliberately have no shades of grey whatsoever. We'll have plenty of time to talk about them. They are a mostly aquatic race, right? So mostly be around bodies of water that we find them. But so here you'll notice we're actually going off over here, but in the distance there is a huge facility. Look at that thing over there. That, my friends, is an extremely important area to the story. It's the Thormanova Reactor. It's a place we could have heard ambient NPCs in Ratasum talking about if we got lucky enough. They'll talk about this far and wide. Basically what it is it's a giant inquest facility compound. Enormous, expensive, important place conducting inquest research into what the inquest thought was chaos magic. And so they were doing all kinds of different experiments there. They learnt about something very important on Tyria, and that's the existence of ley lines, confluences of magic that exist underground. And it was built on top of one of these ley line hubs. Except as they continued their experimentation, they didn't quite realize that what they were actually tapping into was draconic energies. Energies to do with the Elder Dragons. And basically through their foolishness, they kind of caused a disaster. You can kind of think of this as the Tyrian magical equivalent of a nuke going off. There's radiation and fallout and chaos falling all over this area. There are rifts in space-time within the facility that are causing it to affect all different kinds of areas all over Tyria. You find enemies from Ascalon, from the Shiver Peaks, from Kryta, from regions here, all over the place. Like, look at this. Look at the entrance, right? You can see it's snowing at the entrance here, even though we're in a jungly region of the world. Yeah, that's the kind of devastation that this place has unleashed. It happened as a disaster about a year ago, and people are still suffering from it. That was a refugee camp we were at a second ago. People talk about it, like I said, back in Ratassoon. And we'll learn a lot more about this as time goes forwards. Even, like, there's effects of it up there in Brisbane Wildlands. So, yeah, a really important place to know. A bit scary. We're not going to go in there just yet. But, yeah, the Thormanova Reactor. Pretty cool, right? It's probably one of the more prominent landmarks of this entire area of the game. Probably even more prominent and important to the story than the Shadow Behemoth was in Queensdale, for example. But yeah, so in fact you can see one of the events to do with it is going right now. These guys are escaping. All these refugees that were stolen by the Inquest are escaping back out. Alright, so anyway, we have our own quest to do here though. We got to figure out what's going on with the Transatmospheric converter. So, what you might not realize is in that cave, in fact, let me show you this. I'd rather do it this way, okay? What you might not realize is through here, through this little cave in the wall, if we walk along, you'll find an Asura Gate embedded in here, right? A sneaky Asura Gate. By walking into this Asura Gate, it takes us to a hidden Inquest complex all the way up here, the outer complex, and that is where we are going to find Plunker, Kudu's lackey. So, when we enter this story step, we're going to automatically go through this cave, go through the Asura Gate, and appear in the complex. But that's kind of what happened, right? We've presumably walked through that tunnel and gone in. So remember that small Inquest lab we went to before? Yeah, this is a really major one. And a great deal of important historical things have actually happened here. Once we finish the core story and we get to what's known as the Living World, you'll find more story here very quickly, set a few years in the past. So anyway, Zodja and Mr. Sparkles, though, are here for now.
Plunka's inside, and we get to beat Kudu's whereabouts out of her.
Alright, I feel bad for Plunker here, I really do. Mr. Sparkles doesn't say anything.
How can you be helped?
She says, ready, Savant Bract? Let's find Plunker and make her tell us what we want to know. How did she get mixed up in all of this anyway? She's one of Kudu's lackeys. He sponsored her into the Inquest a few years ago, and now she's like a pull toy, following him around. What is this awful place, we ask? Well, this is a standard Inquest laboratory. Dark, dank, and intellectually uninteresting. Usually they have more glowy bits, but that varies by taste, okay? Who are the Inquest, we ask? And she says, well, they're a major crew, far larger than most. They're also far greedier, and that's saying something. I think she really understates their prominence there, but she might do it because she's got so much out for Kudu, and she doesn't want to make us think that the Inquest, are anything important, when they certainly are. I love this lab, like, look how cool this is. Nice, big, clean. What's going on? Plunker should be in the center of the room.
Where did everybody go? And what's that over there?
Yeah, it is surprisingly empty. Uh-oh, there's a body. Hello?
The doors.
It's a phantasm, it's a clone, it's an illusion!
Soja, Kudu knew you'd show up sooner or later, and that you'd walk right into our trap. He gave me a message for you. How does it feel to be perpetually second best? Get comfortable, Footnote. You'll be old, ugly, and dead before we let you out of there. Well, older, uglier, and deader anyway. Enjoy your stay.
Wow, we got totally outplayed. We're in jail! Zodja!
How can you be helped?
I will not be shown up by that strumpet. Savant, find us a way out. What's this here? Minio?
Excuse me for interrupting, but I think we can help each other.
Okay, hold on. I'm here in editing, and I've just realised what she said. She was going to call us Minion. Minion? Oh, Zodja, you've been so nice up to this point. Wow, rude.
Excuse me for interrupting, but I think we can help each other.
Oh, hello. Who are you? It's a Sylvari. We've interacted with, like, no Sylvari in this story. But here's our first.
Hey, you! What's a Sylvari doing working for Kudu? The Inquest considers your people disposable. Little more than kindling.
I was misled. My name is Peredur. Kudu tricked me into his service, and now I can't get away. I've seen what he did to the ones who tried to run.
We can help. I know how to deal with Kudu. Get us out of the cell, and we'll get you out of his clutches.
Kudu's crew is incredibly dangerous, but you seem familiar with their brutality, and this may be my only chance. Very well, I'll release you.
Any enemy of the Inquest is a friend of ours, Peredur. Now get on that console, make us a doorway, and fall in. We're all busting out together. Let's go turn Plunka's face into one big
I'm
ruse.
looking forward to it. What's really interesting and perhaps ironic about this is once upon a time a Sylvari was caught in this cell. One of the first interactions between the Asura and the Sylvari actually took place here. And now here we have a few years later this happening. The Sylvari, by the way, are actually based very close to the Asura. In fact, this is Ratasum, and this is where the Sylvari are from. A giant tree, known as the Pale Tree, at that place on the coast called the Grove. Very close. No two races are closer to one another than these two. So it should be no surprise that we interact with a Sylvari here. Actually, maybe the Norn and the Char are very close too. The Black Citadel is extremely close to the Holbrak. But anyway, it's very, very close. There's all kinds of interesting stories about the Asura meeting with the Sylvari and unfortunate circumstances that actually involve this exact lab. But we'll get to that later.
Nothing's exploded, right?
Okay, so this is all the same dialogue as before. Fine. Let's get moving out of here and let's catch up with her, shall we? It's time for a little bit of payback. Look, she's right here. She's just working in the lab.
Oh, who let Snap's afterthought out?
I did. Tell Kudu I said, I quit. Effective immediately.
Now you're the one who'll be uglier and deader, Plunka, but you'll never get any older.
Big mistake, Zoja. Kudu wanted you alive and suffering, but I have different priorities.
Wow, oh my god, she's going to try and take us down. It's actually a really terrible plan of hers, the fact she just gets destroyed immediately. But okay, fine, so we'll drop our turrets.
Invigorating.
We'll throw some tonics around ourselves, some potions. And let's just focus fire Plunka as fast as possible. Our turrets can deal with the rest. There, we can bounce some attacks to the enemy golem. We got Mr. Sparkles with us. Here, by the way, one of our shield abilities, this one, the magnetic shield, the one that reflects, remember I told you about? We're going to detonate our turrets back there. If we double tap this, we can actually knock someone away and blast at the same time, which I'll show you. Oh god, she's interacting with a console. What are you doing? Oh, she's turning on more golems. So here, we can knock this golem away by double tapping like that, right? So you can knock him away and then you can throw the shield at him as well. It's kind of weird because warriors get like 2 abilities with a shield, really. You get the shield bash and the shield block. On an engineer, you kind of get 4 because you can channel these 2 to either reflect projectiles or block attacks. And then you can do other things. You can push away or throw it out in a boomerang attack. My god, we're taking big damage here. So we're going to be really careful. Let's get out of it. Oh my god, actually, we really hurt. Jesus. Knock away. Please. Oh.
This was a complete failure.
Complete failure? I would say so. She's down. Good. Okay, so what does Peredur say here? He says, I should have listened to Malamides. Asura can't be trusted. Present company excluded, of course. What? What do you mean, So, again, this story here, they're hinting at something we'll learn about later. How did you end up in this terrible place, we can ask, though? I came to Ratasum to learn about the Asura, and from there I was hired by Kudu. I didn't know what inquest meant until it was too late. It means crazy, mixed with dangerous, mixed with stupid. Bear that in mind, we say. I like how we've got such strong opinions about the inquest, when a moment ago we could have asked Zoja exactly who they were. And so we actually get one of these options. We were charming, so if I'd been you, I would have created a distraction and slipped away. What's he going to do about it? And he responds by saying, I tried. I'm just not as smart as Kudu. Every time I make a distraction, he was right there to stop it. Well, maybe we do underestimate the strength of Kudu's character and intellect. Okay, so it's Plunka. She's on the ground now. Are you ready to snivel? She says, I won't tell you anything. You're not the boss of me. All right, we will be charming. You don't need to. You've already given it all away. Kudu's on his way to the Black Citadel. Ha! Fool! By the time you find out how wrong you are, he'll have finished his test at Morot Buru. Aha! The dupe, the double whammy. We got you there. Morot Buru, you say? A cunning lie, but there's no way Kudu's testing his machine there. That just shows how little you know. Kudu's been working at the Invariant base for weeks. He'll be ready. Aha! The triple whammy. You're way too devious for me. You win this time, Plunka.
1 inquest creep down, hundreds to go, but only one that matters. Kudu, we're coming for you.
If he heard that, he's shaking. We just need to find him before he does some real damage with my weather device.
Weather device? I heard Plunka talking about such a thing. It's being developed at the Inquest's Invariant base. They've also scheduled a large-scale test.
Finally! Kudu keeps anticipating my actions, but now we're one step ahead of him. For once, he won't see us coming. What do you think, Savant? How can we hurt Kudu and recover your device? Should we storm the lab or disrupt the test?
Whichever you choose, I'd like to help. I owe Kudu for years of terror and abuse. So tell me, where do we strike?
Oh, another cool choice here. A little bit similar to the previous one, I guess. Plunker, do you want to weigh in on this? Kudu's going to be furious that I betrayed him. I'll be expelled from the inquest for sure. Why do you put up with him? He treats his assistants like dirt. Yeah, but he's a genius and I'm not. Unlike you, some of us have to hitch our wagons to a star and then hold on for dear life. Are we not kind of doing that with Zodja? Is Zodja doing that with us, I wonder? That's another way to think about it. You underestimate yourself. You were smart enough to trap us in that cage. You could do better than this. Maybe, but Kudu said I inspired him. He talked about how the refracting properties of my eyes by moonlight. Wow. I fell for that? Ah, she got totally duped by the romance. He's a loser. You could do 10 times better than him. You're right. But it's better than being alone. Maybe she could hang out with us. I'm not sure. She might be, but she could be one of those NPCs that comes to our home instance. Sometimes if you speak to people in these instances, they will come to your home instance or once it's done. And maybe she's one here. Give it time. You'll find someone. Good luck. Maybe Plunker will come to our instance. I'm not sure. Let's collect that turret. It was making a lot of noise. Predator. Same dialogue as before. Mr. Sparkles.
Made by Zodja. Genius.
Doesn't say anything. Zodja. It looks like we've got two choices. We can catch Kudu at his testing grounds, or we can invade his lab head on. Okay, tell me more about the lab. His lab's pretty far from the city, but Predator said he'll tell us where to go. Kudu will have defenses there, I assure you. What can we expect at the testing grounds? Well, hitting the beta test site gets us away from Kudu's defenses, but it also gives him more means of escape. So what one do you guys think we should do? I want to go rough and tumble. I want to go big time. I want to see his lab as well. I want to see where he's actually operating from. So we're going to invade Kudu's lab head on. It's the only way we can be sure. Just seems like the smarter option, even if it is quite far away. And yeah, we get a cool new rifle, a Defender's Rifle, an Avengers Rifle, or a Caretaker's one. Let's go for this one.
That's more like it.
And hell, let's actually equip it while we're at it as well. That could be pretty fun. Voila, looks pretty good. Quite like it, very Asuran in style. We got another level as well. And we just unlocked Specialization. So, even more juicy build craft and stuff to do. Now, here's the thing, guys. You already know about dungeons. Well, hold on. I'll tell you about this as we go on our adventure. So we're going to go to the second map now. We're going to move up past the Thormanova Reactor and beyond.
Feedback loop
so,
initiated.
yes, you already know about dungeons. We are going to be doing more dungeons. And indeed, this character will be facing them, and I will try to solo them again, just like we did with the Ascalon Catacombs. So, I've got in real mind now, I want to make sure that we get smart stuff from our specializations and what we spend our points on, because it's all about, like, preparing for those challenges. There are a lot of dungeons that we have to go through as the story commences. We've only seen the first, and one of the easier ones. So, next thing I really want to teach you guys about are kits, okay? And I guess we'll just go in order. We'll go slowly and steadily. So we'll grab a med kit here, and then we'll have a look at our specializations. So as an engineer, our options are explosives, firearms, alchemy, inventions, or tools. And it's similar to the other classes. So like explosives is like the engineer's version of fire. Firearms is like the engineer's version of air specialization. Alchemy is a little bit like water. Inventions is a little bit like earth. And tools is a bit like arcane. It's like the fifth line or discipline or whatever, right? So, which one will be most useful to us? I think probably let's start off with explosives, because it's just damage and fun stuff, right? So, first of all, we'll get evasive powder keg. This lets us drop a bomb whenever we dodge in combat, which is great. We can get blasting zone. Our power is increased, and whenever we get a blast finisher, we give might out. Let's grab this one here. Explosions cause vulnerability. So a lot of our skills, like this turret, right? When we blow this turret up, that's an explosion, okay? And the tooltip actually says explosion. Tons of our stuff are counted as explosions, and anywhere you ever see an explosion on this class now, it will be buffed and do more damage because we picked that trait up, okay? And then let's get this as well. The aim-assisted rocket. So whenever we hit someone, it tags them for a seeker rocket, which will just come flying out of us and blow them up. And now we're out of points. So this is pretty cool. Let's go explosives. And yeah, we'll pick this up. We'll grab blasting. Actually, there's this one here as well, glass cannon. We do more damage when we're above 75% health. That's cool. we get the vulnerability on our explosions and the aim-assisted rocket. So now, as we shoot stuff, so watch me fight this ball. When I hit the ball, do you see we get that extra rocket that flew out? And the rocket is an explosion, which means that the rocket did extra damage and it put vulnerability on the ball. So you can see the synergy that we get. Also, when we dodge... Oh, I was out of combat. If I put myself in combat, though, with something in a minute, like another boar. So we'll knock the boar away, right? Look at these big explosions we get now. Now when I dodge, we get that little explosion there. And if that explosion hits anything, it will, you know, it will do the vulnerability and it will do more damage and stuff. So immediately you can see we start doing more damage. It starts becoming a lot more fun as we do things. And yeah, if we do a blast finisher now, any kind. So if I make my little regenerating mist and I explode the turret.
Invigorating!
The blast finishers can give us might. Oh, we didn't actually take that trait, did we? Hold on, let's do this one here, okay? So our power is increased, so we just straight up hit harder, and now whenever we do one of those blasts, we get might, which is even more power. So just more. Pretty good, and we'll stick with this new rifle we just got as we walk out of the very north of this map. Honestly, there's so much to see in Metrica Province, and we've seen so little right now. But I'm sure there'll be more quests and opportunities for us to adventure there as our story progresses. But for now, we're in the second map. This is a very cool area. It's known as the Brisbane Wildlands. And I actually love the beginning here. We're going to come up here. Speaking of explosions, we're going to see there's tons of peacemakers, as you can see. But we'll find out what the Asura of this area are dealing with. So we're in pretty remote areas now. This guy says, when we moved out here, it was just a few crews. Skritsburg, wilderness as far as one could observe. Now it feels like we're backed into a corner. What do you mean? We started running into Inquest labs a few years ago. A couple at first, but now they're ubiquitous. You can't even go between here and Ultimate Magicals without stumbling over one. It seems calm here. Are things really that bad? The peacemakers help keep this area safe, and even they've started working with the Wild Hunt, Seraph, and adventurers to help combat all the dangers out there. What other dangers are there? Well, the Nightmare Court has taken root in the east, and there are bandits in the north. Our research paradise is becoming a den of thugs and sadistic plants. Seems there's some work to do. So, this is a really cool map, guys. I love this map, because it's where 3 of the races of the game all meet. It borders on Kryta. So, here's basically the map, right? It borders on Krytan territory. So you get bandits from Kryta coming in here. It borders on Asuran territory, so you get seedier elements of Asuran lands coming in, like the Inquest. And it borders on a bit of Sylvari territory, so you get seedier elements of the Sylvari here as well. So it's like this big melting pot of brigands and dangerous people. And of course, it's a slightly higher level area as well. There's also this really badass lab here. Oh my god, that guy looks ridiculous. There's this badass lab here, where essentially, if we can find someone, this is straight up a shady assistance here that we can accuse of being a spy. But they're basically researching nukes and stuff here, seriously. Like, really ridiculous high-tier weaponry and dangerous stuff. And not necessarily all just Inquest doing this sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's very cool. There's lots of interesting people to interact with and talk about. And, needless to say, it's probably a great area and backdrop to, Kudu having a base near here. I mean, that would make perfect sense, right?
I don't know how I'll ever reproduce those findings. It's going to set me back weeks.
Looks like everyone here's been destroyed. Not looking very good. It seems like she's maybe trying to res these peacemakers. I think she's been attacked, and we could have defended her during a dynamic event, but I was busy just chatting with you guys, so we never did in the end. There's a swamp down there as well with more Hylek. Oh, guys. It's such a big and interesting world. Okay, so let's move on in. Bad forecast. Can we have our weather machine back now, please? Please? I guess we're going to go down here along the side of this river, not over that bridge. So the Skrit actually have a huge town here. Remember what I said about the Skrit becoming more intelligent, cultured, civilized, the more of them there are together? Well, there's a huge hive of Skrit over there, to the point that they actually have kings and queens and things. Yeah, those silly drooling rats that we saw before? Well, over there they have a real civilization going on. Okay, hey Zorja.
This is the place. Kudu's lab is just ahead.
Alright. Very short and to the point. Kudu's plans are going to backfire on him this time, I'll make sure of that. If the Inquest is this terrible, why does the Arcane Council let them stay in Ratasum? Let them stay? Ha! The Council couldn't kick them out if they wanted to. The Inquest are jerks, but their inventions are genius. This is the cost of being the best. Someone steals your stuff and makes a mint off of it. Tell me something I don't know. Alright, let's keep going. Kudu's got to be in here somewhere. Mr. Sparkle's refusing to speak. How are you, my friends? Do you think Kudu will recognize me? I'm sure he'll be angry. What, that you betrayed him? Yeah. I can't imagine he'd forget a pretty face like yours. Why are we flirting with everyone? What is this? Charming is just like flirting with people, it seems. Pretty? Why, you're just teasing me, aren't you? I see how this works. So, the Silvari we don't really know much about right now, but they're very naive. They're very young. They've actually only existed on Tyria for about 25 years. And so, a lot of them don't really know to handle various situations. Ha! I had no idea leaves could turn that shade of red, we say. Alright, let's move up. This is a bit of a dangerous space.
Intruder detected. Activating security measures.
That doesn't sound
Extreme
good.
violence
Not
authorized.
good at all.
Extreme violence authorized. Seriously now? Wow, oh my goodness. Alright, so let's blow these up. Look at all the damage we suddenly do. Now that we're explosives specialized and we get all of our crazy extra rockets and things. Oh, it's so good, guys. It's fantastic. I'll show you something else very fun as well. We unlocked a new skill a second ago, didn't we? It was known as a kit. So, remember how we can't weapon swap as an engineer? There is something we can do to get around that. You know how when we pick up, say, like scrap metal or the very old energy detector or anything throughout these adventures from the ground,
I'm nigh invincible.
it changes our skills? Well, engineers can do that to a greater extent as well. They get a classification of utility skills known as kits, which essentially do just that. So we picked up the med kit earlier. So if I grab the med kit and turn our heal turret off, when I activate this, it won't do anything. Like, we don't get any benefit just from activating it. But if you look at my character as I do so, you'll notice that suddenly our rifle goes away, and in our hand, we now have like these little injectors around our wrist. And what that's doing is representing the fact we're now holding a med kit. And all 5 of our other skills have changed to medkit associated stuff. So our skill 1 is the Med Blaster. Heal allies with a wave of healing energy. And it heals more the more boons they have on them. Wait, that heals more for more boons on them? That's interesting. That's some synergy with a new balance update they put in the game. So we can run around shooting heals on other people now because we have the medkit. Or we could use the skill 2. Throw bandages out. Remember this from when we were the Char? Well, we can throw those out now. Alright? And ourselves or our allies can pick those up. There's also stimulants, which we can walk over to give ourselves fury or an ally. There's also accelerants, which heals people and also grants them swiftness, as well as curing any kind of horrible movement impairing condition. And lastly, there's antidotes. So these antidotes cure your conditions and give you resistance to other ones. So you can run around throwing supplies and things on the ground for other people to grab.
Bandages.
Unfortunately, in the balance of the game right now, this isn't too strong. I really hope that the devs do buff and improve this one day, though. But yeah, so that's the med kit, and there's lots of kits we can get. If you have a look over at training here, there's a flamethrower, there's a grenade kit, an elixir gun, a tool kit, a bomb kit, and a mortar. So kits are really fun, and now it's like we can weapon swap, right? We get our rifle, and we get the kit skills. Now imagine if I was running a kit heal, a kit here, a kit here, a kit here, and a kit here, we would have suddenly tons of weapon skills. And the cherry on top, there's still tool belts as well. So we can use bandage self to heal ourselves. So yeah, there's a lot to talk about with NG. We will slowly get more kits, and we're going to really rely on those to get through these dungeons in the future. Let me mark my words.
Well, look who finally caught up with the rest of the class. I heard you needed help to escape from my trap, Zoja. Big surprise there, right? You're too late, by the way. My Weathermatic 5000 is fully functional and ready to make it rain. Literally.
That's my invention, Kudu. You're no genius. You're a derivative thief. And you dress like a ninny. Tell your tailor that other colors exist.
Oh, Snaff's sidekick brought a sidekick of her own. Sidekick. Yes, I stole your design and improved it 1,000-fold. Your device could make it snow for Winter's Day or turn gray skies blue for a child's picnic. I turned that toy into a weapon of unmatched potential. Dark clouds are gathering over Ratasum as we speak, Savant. I hope the Council can swim, but you're sunk. Inquest, attack!
So his plan is to attack the Council? What? Unbelievable. And yeah, he mentioned something called Winter's Day there. That's basically Tyria's version of Christmas. It's actually a celebration of New Year, and it's sort of more of a human-based thing. I love his voice. Kudu is genuinely quite an important character, so it's really cool to be able to interact with him a little bit here.
Body heat diminished.
You call this resistance? I call it rise.
Let's quickly throw some packs down. Let's get our turret up. So look, you can get all these kind of gadgets and trinkets and cool toys and things.
If this keeps up, I may have to revise my calculations.
Yeah, you may do, because we're going to take you out there. We're going to take you down.
This has been fun, but I think...
Oh, and he's left. He said, but I think I'll have to leave now. And he teleported off with a personal teleportation device.
Where's Kudu? I'm going to wrap his ears around his own neck and pull until his head pops off.
Good plan, but Kudu's long gone. He stole the designs for a personal teleporter ages ago. Whenever things aren't going his way, he goes away.
He mentioned the Council and dark clouds over Ratasum. But what does he gain from flooding the Council chambers?
Any number of small, petty things. A minor victory, an embarrassment for the Council, proof of the Inquest's power. If he kills a few counselors and disrupts the power structure in Ratasum, so much the better.
Then let's get after him. Saving the Council is all well and good, but he called my first invention a toy. For that, he must pay.
Bract is awesome. There's like a lightheartedness to the Asura stuff that I really enjoy. I also love that, you know, the writers could have very easily here made this into some big, oh, they're going to destroy the entire city. It's the worst thing in the world. And they fall into that trap quite often, honestly. But here, they're not really doing that. It's just, you know, he's just trying to disrupt the Council. It's a show of power. He's going to conjure a storm over the town, which is scary. But, you know, it's not like some ultimately over-the-top nefarious thing. Predator, it seems you're alright, dude. Kudu certainly is a slippery little fellow, he says. Next time, I'm bringing glue bombs. Funnily enough, glue bomb is a skill that we as an engineer can actually learn, so that's quite hilarious. Zodja, it's on the bomb kit I was talking about a second ago. Coward, hear me, Kudu, wherever you are. You're a coward. Bah. Where did he go, we ask? I don't know, but I do know where he'll be next, and that's the Arcane Council chamber. Alright, and we'll be ready. So, back to Ratasum to end the chapter and thwart Kudu for once and for all. And you notice how little we actually get into Brisbane here. I think maybe we'll have another story step there later, but really not too much opportunity. This idea of a personal teleporter device, by the way, you want to remember that. A couple of prominent characters as the story goes along start using things like that, and that kind of allows them to teleport without needing to be next to a waypoint or an Asura Gate, right? Which I think is kind of the idea. Like, I know that we can technically open our map and waypoint at any point, but I'm not sure whether in the lore that's how that works. I think they're supposed to be point-to-point travel, while the personal device that Kudu uses is a little bit more advanced than that. So I came down. I'm so used to coming down. Yes, we now get to go up into the actual Arcane Council chambers themselves, all the way up there. So, we've been looking at it looming overhead for long enough. The last time we spoke to the councillors was just as we won the SNAF prize. Let's head on up. Flash flood. So, what have we got here? Well, the gate that we came from. And it seems Kudu has organised them all to meet with him and listen to him speak.
I hereby convene this special session of the Arcane Council. The floor is yours, Kudu. And make it good. We're busy people.
I guarantee you'll be impressed, counselors. My Weathermatic 5000 will change the world, starting with yours.
Stop! Kudu is setting you up. He's going to use that machine to flood Ratasum permanently.
Ah, Zodja. I trust the council is familiar with Snaf's former menial, and the Snaf's servant, a menial's menial. So glad you got my invitation, dear. I was afraid something terrible had happened to you. No matter. Plenty of time for that later. I have to run now, counselors. It's a wee bit failure-heavy in here for my taste. Enjoy the show.
Kudu! Damn it, he's so annoyed difficult to deal with. And what do you know? He actually floods the chambers up here, so it starts pouring down with rain, there's water everywhere, and a ton of inquests come out of the woodworks. to attack the councillors, like legitimately attack them. So we're going to have to take them out as fast as possible. You notice like the first one we shoot, we instantly blow up. It's because of our aim-assisted rocket, right? So the rocket will fire at whoever we hit first and probably just destroy them. Then we have to wait for its cooldown, right, of like 10 seconds before we can fire another one. But here, yeah, so the Arcane Council, let's try and move a bit faster as we wade through this water here. And obviously we don't want to fall. If you look all the way down there, that's kind of the regular areas of the city.
I got this. Anything Kudu built, I can shut down. Leave it to me.
Not so fast, Zoja. The Council can take care of itself. We need experience, not...
Back off, Flax. I trained with Snaf, just like Kudu, so shut up and let me save us all. Trissons, this thing's booby-trapped to summon elementals. Keep them off me while I work.
Oh god, really? What the hell? We should move our turret. Oh no, I think our turret's probably still doing some work. So elementals are coming in, these sparks, as Zoja works away. I wonder if we can get any extra dialogue.
Nothing's exploded, right?
At this point in the instance. I'm always curious about that, because you can't talk to them in combat, so I wonder whether the devs added some, but you only have a brief window to hear it.
To 0.
So, what other guys have we got here? We've got Councillor Ludo. We've got Councillor Zudo. We've got Flunt, who spoke to us earlier, if you remember. He was genuinely nice sounding to us. We've got Flax, Zoja.
Let's get out of here.
And it looks like maybe we got the last of them down there now? We're still in combat, but that might be because my turret's still hitting something. Everyone okay? Are they all fleeing? Ah, there we go. So now we can destroy the converter itself. Destroy the transatmospheric converter, it says at the top right. This is it in the middle, but this is my invention. I don't want to have to destroy my own invention. I guess we have no choice. Let's toss an elixir on everyone. Give them all stability, retail, stuff like that. Ow, it actually hits us really hard. Oh my god. It's alright, we managed to break it before it did any real harm. Wow, it hit so hard. Look at that cool animation as it blows up. Whew. Okay. Disaster averted?
So, a deluge in your chambers and a bevy of hostile elementals. Is the council ready to declare Kudu a threat, or do you need more proof?
The Council is well aware of the animosity between you and Kudu. For all we know, you came to sabotage his demonstration. I, for one, didn't see any elementals until after Zoja tampered with Kudu's device. This calls for a full subcommittee investigation.
What?
Which will take months to reach a conclusion, if it ever does. With respect, Counselor, you're a buffoon. If Zoja and I hadn't...
Let it go, Savant. It's Ratasum. The council's main duty is to preserve itself. These days, that means knuckling under to the inquest. We stopped Kudu and destroyed the machine he stole from you. I'm gonna count that as a win. But I'm getting increasingly tired of council politics. Keep yourself available. I've got a few irons in the fire, and I'll want you with me when they're ready to come out. I'll be in touch.
She's getting tired of council politics. Is this perhaps one little thing that starts pushing her towards wanting to reunite with her old guildmates and try meeting them in Lion's Arch very shortly? So yeah, and I mean, I said at the start of this that the council, they're not exactly goody two-shoes white all the time, are they? And it's a little bit frustrating to deal with them. I love how we blatantly call Flax a buffoon here. So let's speak to him. He said, I'm glad to see you. I thought we were done for. And we can say, wow, the Arcane Council chambers, what an honor to be here. The honor is ours, Bract. Someday, perhaps one of these councillor seats will be yours. And we can say, well, we'll see. He says, rain indoors. This is Flunt this time. What the hadron is going on in here? Why, in my day? It was Kudu, sir. He attacked the council with a weather machine. Who? Who? You sound like an owl, Bract. Kudu, hoo-hoo. You sound like an owl, Bract. Stand up straight. Not hoo-hoo, Kudu. Snaf's first apprentice? Math? Of course I know math. What kind of things are they teaching you kids these days? Bah! Have a good day, sir. So he's supposed to be kind of deaf. It's funny because he's in the story, in recent story that they add, you know. And they seem to have dropped the thing where he seems to be hard of hearing. What was the other thing Flax had, though? Am I right in assuming you're the leader of the council, Flax? He says, first among equals. In name, in brain, I outclass them all, don't you know? Of course you do, sir. Of course you do. You buffoon. So here we get Ludo and Zudo. I like their outfits. They look pretty cool. Really, Savant? You couldn't have just stopped Kudu before he flooded the chambers? My outfit is ruined. By the way, what are they talking about? The elementals? There were blatant inquests attacking. What? We're just going to pretend they weren't associated with Kudu, are we? Ridiculous. What does the Arcane Council do? We rule the city. We make laws and approve patents and apparently get rained on. Pfft. Good to know. Oh, and sorry for the mess. We could also say, I'm terribly sorry, Councillor. Feel free to send me the Steam Golem bill. Well, at least you have manners. Carry on.
Council is in session.
The weather changer was impressive. I mean, if Kudu hadn't been trying to kill us with it. Attacking the finest minds in Ratasum? That was a foolish plan. Foolish but audacious. And an unexpected attack can be as effective as a well-planned one. Good point, Councillor. So what, they're just going to applaud him? I mean, they're crazy. They got their heads, like, they're not speaking sense anymore.
Greetings.
Hey, Zojo. You did good, kid, she says. The council owes you, and I guess I owe you too. Does Kudu do this kind of thing often? Threaten Ratasum? Only on special occasions, she says. Like every 5th Tuesday? I really hate that guy. So Kudu is not down and out. He has disappeared for now, but we will be seeing him before the end. What will the council do now, we ask? She says, clean up, pass another prohibition against this kind of thing, and then go on. Standard fare. And Kudu? I'll bet we haven't seen the end of him. One way or another, Bract. This isn't over. I look forward to it. Next time, he won't get away so easily. I promise you that. I think we may find, guys, that is a promise I am not able to keep. But, yeah, we don't necessarily know that just yet. All right, let's get back through the gate. Or I guess the gate is deactivated for now. And, yeah, there you go. That's Chapter 2 complete. Short, sweet, pretty easy. Learn about our old device and learn a little bit more about the council. And progress on. So, that leaves us with Chapter 3. So, here we are at level 30. We've got some cool stuff again. Once again, we've been given backpack straps, so we can do something fancy there. We got the Signet Ring of Ratasum this way, instead of the Citadel. We'll go Mighty again, and we'll equip that, so that's nice, and we'll throw away the Topaz Heart that we had from before. And yeah, we also get this Mighty Amulet for 20 power, which we can slot this Peridot Nugget into that the game has kindly given us. So that's pretty nice. As for the backpack, I'm not really sure which skin I really care about using for this one. We don't have the one of Ratasum, I don't think. No, we don't. So, how about we slot this? Because we are, at the end of the day, an alchemist as an engineer. So, we'll put this backpack on. This you actually get from leveling up Artificer as a discipline. You unlock various backpacks as you go. And, yeah, it's got loads of potions and tinctures and things like that on it. I think that's pretty fitting for us. Well, now that we're level 30, Zodja has sent us a mail, and the story will continue. And this is where it gets really important. So sit up, listen closely, guys, because things are about to get real. Zodja. She says, a presentation and an opportunity. Savant, how familiar are you with a professor named Gore? Well, we're not familiar at all. We've never heard of a Professor Gore. I've been following his research, and he's drawing some fascinating connections between worldwide magic levels and the rise of the Elder Dragons. He's scheduled to present his latest findings at an academic conference, and I want you to help me gauge how valid they are. I also think that this might be a unique opportunity for you in all of this, so I'll see you there. Alright, so Asura style, we're going to find out some research that someone's been doing. We're going to have an academic conference, and we're going to have some fun. So, for the first time, we're going to go really quite deep down into the city now. You guys haven't seen just yet. It's obviously been open for exploration for a while, but hasn't been any reason for us to actually come down here just yet. There's all kinds of fun things down here, like a prison that you can actually get locked in if you go out of bounds in a weird way. This is an inquest associated area that you can see here. All kinds of fun stuff going on. And it's down here, actually, that Gore will be giving his research at his seminar. We just got to figure out exactly where it is. It is a little bit labyrinthine. It is a bit tricky to see exactly where we can go. Hopefully we find it quite quickly, though. There you go. It's right here. So it's by the Apprentice waypoint. And we'll be coming back down into the depths of the city here on a fair few occasions. Look, they got a cool fish tank down there as well. A little bit like Divinity's Reach had, actually. But yeah, okay. So let's head on in and see a bold new theory. So one thing should have quite rightly been on your mind. The game is about fighting the Elder Dragons.
Good, you got my letter. Gore's just about to start his presentation. This should be interesting.
Now let's welcome Professor Gore.
But how do we fight creatures that are that titanic, that scary? Gore may just be onto something, and it's to do with the world's ambient magic levels.
The 7th law of Maginamics posits that magical energy cannot be destroyed. Today, I will prove that magic is a limited resource, like water or timber. Using my advanced equipment, I have detected significant drops in the world's ambient magic levels. This drop, I believe, is directly attributed to the return of the Elder Dragons. They consume magic at an alarming rate. If the dragons are not stopped soon, they will leech all of the magic from the world.
Ah, bosh! Magic doesn't get consumed. It changes form and concentration, but it always returns. It's part of a closed system.
I have proof.
This
the data
is
is...
bunk. Get off the
Where
stage.
did I leave those notes?
Oh, God.
I must have left them in my lab. Please, excuse me while I fetch my records. I can prove the problem exists, then we can focus on its solution.
Interesting. Okay, so he was pretty much booed off completely.
Professor Gore will return shortly. Until then, please welcome Sepha from the phrenologist crew.
Wow, and they're all just leaving, are they? Okay, fine.
Thank you for coming. I see a lot of overlap in Gore's theory and our shared goals.
As do I. If Gore's research aligns with the Priory's, we may be looking at a cultural revolution.
Revolutions are won militarily, not academically. Still, Gore's theory could prove useful.
I agree, but nothing can happen until Gore makes his case. Why don't we all settle in and listen?
Right, so we just got to wait for Gore to come back, I suppose. So yeah, these guys basically booed him off, so how much merit does he have? I suppose this idea, though, that magic can't be changed, it's just a closed system, I suppose both could be true, right? It could be that magic is being consumed, and then later released, it's just the loop, the system is much broader than they realize. Their perspective is too limited. Anyway, so, Zodja.
How can you be helped?
What do you think of what Gore just said?
Savant, allow me to present 3 of Ratasum's finest minds. Slep of the Vigil, Batanga of the Order of Whispers, and Crosso of the Derman Priory. I asked them here to listen to Professor Gore's speech, because they all have an interest in fighting the Elder Dragons.
Pleased to meet you, Savant. The Derman Priory is dedicated to research and exploration that will help us combat the Elder Dragons. As you can imagine, we've been watching Professor Gore's progress with keen interest. I'm glad to see you share that interest.
We all share the Priory's interest, just not their methods. In the Order of Whispers, we specialize in covert activity, information, infiltration, and assassination. I understand you're more of a doer than a researcher, so you'll appreciate this. If Gore's theory gives us a clear avenue of attack, we intend to use it.
How clear does a target have to be for you sneaks? The dragons aren't exactly tiny, nor do they keep a low profile. The Vigil's army of dedicated fighters was founded to confront the dragons through force of arms. I'm here to see if Gore's work can help us do that.
So who are these 3 characters? We've got Scholar Cresso here.
Truth and knowledge are 2 different things.
Of the Dermond Priory. And she says, if you're interested in the Priory, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Let's keep it down, though. I don't want to spoil the other geniuses' presentations. Okay, yeah, whatever she's talking about over there that nobody seems to be listening to. All right, well, I do have a few questions about the Priory. She says, consider me your personal font of esoteric knowledge. Ask away. All right, what is the Priory? Well, we're an academy of researchers and explorers that finds, archives, and employs ancient wisdom. Our current focus is the defeat of the Elder Dragons, and we're pushing multiple means to that end. As we know, because right now, across the world, amongst the Char, there are some other Priory agents dealing with that amulet, remember? Okay, but we never really got a formal explanation as to who these people were back there with the Char. It was all go, 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 go. How does the Priory operate, we can ask then? What are your methods? The Asura take the time to sit back and learn a thing or two. She says, we employ academics, explorers, and combatants at facilities all across Tyria. We go where antiquities are. We collect them, we study them, and we put them to good use. Who founded the Priory, then? Dermond! So remember they're called the Dermond Priory? She says Dermond, of course. He was a scholar in Lion's Arch when all rose. His cliff-top monastery became a repository for knowledge that would have otherwise been lost in the chaos following the flood. So, yeah, Dermond we could actually meet in the original game. And, yeah, he was a purveyor of history and a knowledgeable fellow. And it seems that as Lion's Arch was threatened by a tidal wave that would destroy all the libraries and the books, he took as much as he could and he ran into the mountains with it. And that's where the Dermond Priory was founded. So other scholars came to him, we ask? Scholars and mages of all race came to do research and share what they knew. Dermond quickly saw this as a way to combat the dragons. Knowledge is often literally power, after all. So that's a bit about the Priory. Here we've got Agent Batanga. If you've got questions about the Order of Whispers, I've got all of the answers, she says. I can only give you some of them, however, and they may be in code. Alright, I do have some questions. Well, I'll try to answer them as directly as possible, but no promises. I've been training to be as evasive for so long it's become second nature. If you remember as a child, we just had a guy, Korakan, who was saying, oh, I'm a blacksmith. At least Batanga's going to be a bit more open. What is the Order of Whispers, we can ask? Well, we're problem solvers. We work behind the scenes and in the shadows. We're not soldiers. We're spies, saboteurs, and assassins. This all sounds very Asura to me. Our current top problem is the Elder Dragons. So how does the Order of Whispers operate then? As the name indicates, quietly. We eschew direct confrontation in favour of subtlety and guile. If we can avoid a war by blackmailing a general or poisoning a potentate, that's what we do. How was the Order founded? That's hard to say, she says. To you. Until you officially join, let's just go with we came from somewhere else for the purpose of protecting innocents from dark magic and would-be conquerors. And again, the Order of Whispers actually existed. I hate saying this over and over again. People who weren't familiar with the original game might feel totally lost by this, but the Order of Whispers was a faction from the original game. In fact, of all of the factions here, the Order of Whispers are the only one that was a faction in the original game. The other two are newer. The Priory was formed a while ago now, but still after the first game ended. And the Vigil, these guys only just came into existence within the past 5 years. Standing by if you have any questions about the Vigil, he says. I do have a few questions. Fire when ready. What's the Vigil? The Vigil is a highly trained, well-disciplined army dedicated to destroying the Elder Dragons through open warfare. We also protect civilians and repair the damage the dragons do. I mean, I think we've got a good sense of the Vigil, right? Because our previous character, Tyrix, spent so long with them. How does the Vigil operate? Like a well-oiled military machine. We do reconnaissance, we identify objectives, and we strike. Our actions are always tightly coordinated and focused on getting results. Who founded the Vigil? He says, General Almora Soulkeeper. The Crystal Dragon killed her warband when it created the brand. She dedicated her life to building a fighting force that could respond to that level of devastation. So there's a lot to that story that we are yet to learn. But 5 years ago, when the dragon came south and all the stuff was going on with Destiny's Edge, it happened to destroy Almora Soulkeeper's warband. And that was a turning point for her in her fight, in her quest to organize against the dragons, and she founded the Vigil from it. The Vigil didn't exist when Snaf died and all of that stuff happened. They're a very new order, but they're an extremely effective one and have probably grown far faster than the other two. Anyway, so, Zodja.
How can you be helped?
Pleased to meet you all. Professor Gore's theory is groundbreaking, and the implications are monumental. I'm interested to hear him finish his presentation.
He should be back soon. Let's see if any of the other speakers have any insights for us while we wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while now, hasn't he, really?
An exhaustive study of Tyrian physiognomy led me to derive what I call Cepha's constant. Multiplied by the mean ratio of body mass to brain size, it yields an important racial metric. Namely, said race's importance as a factor in the eternal alchemy. Asura scored highest naturally. Then in descending order, we have Sylvari, Char, Human, and Norn.
Wow, the Norn are least important? Jesus.
Your attention, please. I have just been informed that our colleague Gore will not be returning. The Arcane Eye reports that he was killed in a tragic lab accident while recovering his notes. It is a terrible blow to science. We should all mourn one of Ratasum's finest minds. On that dolorous note, this seminar is hereby concluded. Thank you for coming.
Oh dear, what? Really now? That seems a bit suspect, no?
How can you be?
Zodja? He was just here a second ago.
Gore died just as he was about to present proof of his theory. Does that strike anyone else as suspicious? Even dubious?
It does. I'd like to inspect Gore's lab and review his documentation. Though if the Arcane Eye's involved, we may not get that chance.
The Order of Whispers can help. The Arcane Eye serves the Arcane Council, right? They have to do what the Council says. It's in their charter. We simply pay a visit to High Counselor Flax's lab, find the materials to make a convincing forgery, and walk right past the Arcane Eye.
How unnecessarily complicated. Simpler to just outwit the sentries outside Gore's lab. The Arcane Eye can't match the Priory's brain power.
I'll leave fact-finding to the Priory and Whispers. When you lot establish a clear objective, the Vigil will be ready.
Listen, Savant, I'm pursuing a long-term, big-picture strategy here, so I want you to take charge. Choose the most viable plan and see it through. We need to know what Gore was going to show us, and if he was silenced, we need to know who did it and why. Good luck.
Wow, so this seems pretty scary right now. So yeah, we haven't really interacted with them much, but there's kind of a secret police in force, in action, in Ratasum. And they are the Arcane Eye. They're in the service of the Council. The Councilors, obviously, that we interacted with just a moment ago. And yeah, so they are like a secret police that work in the backgrounds, even more so than you'd think of the Inquest, for example, which is just a large crew and obviously have their own agenda and ideas. And so if there's been some kind of crazy cover-up, this could be quite strange. We get a choice of who do we think has the best plan to deal with it. As enticing as the Order of Whispers seem right now, secret police versus secret society. Let's try out the Priory, since as a Char, we totally ignored the Priory for so long. So the Priory plans to outsmart the Arcane Eye and access Gore's lab. Their security detail must have a flaw, and we're the ones to identify and exploit it. Are you with me? Yeah, let's go check out Gore's lab, see what's over there.
You've chosen wisely. I'll meet you outside Gore's lab.
Brilliant. And so a bold new theory begins. Has Gore figured out something major about the Elder Dragons? And if so, why would they be keeping that from us? I guess we'll find out next time. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll be back very shortly.
All muds are not equal, my dear. You must take into consideration the metals and the biological materials in your sample. Something as common as an embedded fossil can throw off the entire equation.
I love it when you talk dirt.
Did you hear about the big explosion?
My dad said that the Inquest blew it up. I hate them. They're mean.
I heard it was destroyers. Did you know water runs uphill there now?
No way. That's incredible.